Today's guest is someone who has been a part of people's daily lives around the world. If you've ever searched yoga for beginners, yoga for anxiety, yoga for when you're tired, or maybe just needed 20 minutes to reconnect with yourself, chances are you've spent some time with Adriene Mishler. Adriene is the creator of Yoga With Adriene, one of the largest yoga communities in the world with more than 13 million subscribers across the globe. But what makes her story so special isn't just the scale, it's the connection. For over a decade, Adriene has invited millions of people into their practice with one simple philosophy: find what feels good. Her approach has made yoga feel approachable, joyful, and accessible to people of all ages, bodies, and backgrounds. Before she became a global wellness icon, Adriene was an actor, a storyteller, and an artist here in Austin. That creative foundation is woven into everything she does, from her teaching style to her newest venture, Veta, a movement apparel brand designed around the idea that what we wear should support how we move and how we live. She's an entrepreneur, activist, writer, and someone who's helped redefine that what wellness can look like. Adriene, welcome to Told Y'all.
Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you for having me. I feel so seen, and that's such a gift, as we know these days, every day. So thank you.
You're so welcome.
For that. And thank you for having me. Yeah.
This is so long overdue.
It is.
I first connected with you, I think, over Instagram years ago. And when I very first moved here in 2010, which was such a different time, but you're a native Austinite, so you've absolutely seen the change. But a few of my friends, I had just started at South by, said, "Hey, we're going to go to practice yoga on the East Side and do yoga. Do you want to come?" And I'm like, not a yoga girl. I'm okay. I'll meet y'all for happy hour. But your name kept coming up and coming up and coming up as like, no, she's different. Just come and try a class with her. And it wasn't until 2018 when you had an event at Fair Market. And I don't know if it was like a find what feels good, specific event or what it was, but my sister and I finally went, and I just found the Instagram post. I have to read it to you.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I did a deep dive on Instagram because that moment really, really, really stuck with me. And it came at a time when I needed it the most. The title was Find What Feels Good. 1 week later, and I'm still thinking about my first Yoga with Adriene class, first class with Adriene Louise, who y'all know as Yoga with Adriene. It was so special. I booked this class way in advance, and the day of, I woke up exhausted from a tough week of movement and emotionally tired from work, plus co-producing an event. It's when I worked at South by at the time. That I just wanted to cancel class. I was practically pissed at the thought of leaving my PJs for yoga, but I showed up anyway. Holy shit, it was exactly what I needed. Adriene led with, do what you can, find what feels good, and tears immediately streamed down my face, partly because I was so tired, and that's what I do when I'm tired, and partly because I think I'd been waiting to hear those words, just find what feels good and go from there. I preach that, but I'm human and don't always live it, so it was a nice reminder from somebody that I didn't even know.
Wow.
And then just like a flood of comments like, we love Adriene, she's amazing.
Wow. That was such a ripe, rich time too for me in terms of showing up as a teacher. I was also, believe it or not, going through a lot of transition then, and was, I told you I'm an oversharer. Here we go. But I was like also like thinking, what would life look like and feel like if I wasn't in a long-term relationship? Like how would I exist? How would, what would my relationship be like with myself? Which I've had those thoughts before, but never was just like in a pattern. But what's funny is I really leaned into saying yes to every opportunity to teach and practice with people in person around that time, because of course we had the virtual and the digital going.
Yeah.
So those Fair Market classes in particular were like so sacred for me. I mean, anytime you show up, we try to create an opportunity for us to share sacred space versus just like a workout. And we want the workout too.
Yeah.
Like we're doing asana together. We're sweating. But that was always the goal. And so it's funny you mentioned this, because I was thinking recently, I gotta get back out and doing a community yoga in Austin, in my hometown, in my own backyard. Like we all love it on the team. We all miss it. And I know that whether it's Fair Market or another partner, like that it's possible, like I like being different. And especially in the early days, you know, that was mentioned, I wasn't being different for the sake of being different, but I was pushing for different for the sake of getting people who might benefit from yoga to come
Mm-hmm.
who weren't already coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the people are already coming, they don't need me to convince them to come. So I was like trying
Yeah.
to reach more friends.
Yeah.
So those community events in Austin, I really feel like I can let my weird flag fly, you know, and bring
Yeah.
in, we used to always bring in local partners, but the rule was no selling anything. It's all free. You have to give it all away for free.
Yeah.
People would be like, okay, great.
Well, I mean, I could take this so many directions, but I just want to go back to that point where you said no selling anything, because I feel like you are so intentional. Like if I had 2 words to describe you, I mean, I have so many, but if I had 2 words, it's intentional and integrity. And I feel like you're never selling anything. And I think you are very intentional around how you show up as, you know, I don't want to use the word influencer, but you're never selling us anything. It's you're building, like you're building a community, and you're, I think, in a very unique way, encouraging us to go inward and connect with ourselves. So I don't even know how you do that, but you do it so beautifully.
Thank you. That really means a lot to me, especially right now as I step into new endeavors, but also just evolve as a person, as a woman, and as an entrepreneur. I'm like, you know, where do I want to put that energy? And so I'm really at this crossroads right now where I'm like, let's make sure what we're doing is like kind of where we want to be as a person, that sweet spot. So I appreciate you saying that right now, especially. And, you know, I think some of it comes from growing up doing theater.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I've always had that connection. You know, I've often said a lot of my guidance as a yoga teacher, like what I try to share and offer to people, what I teach, I always have felt like is mostly influenced from my time training as an actor and as a performer and as a member of the ensemble. Now I'm in a 3-year, essentially like graduate program for yoga therapy. So I'm starting to give my yoga training a little more credit too. But historically, I have felt that most of what I do has been heavily influenced by my time in the theater. And I think that's...
In what way?
In a lot of ways. I think for one, there's a certain respect for the audience that is where you start. It's a given. Like, it's like this constant consideration of the audience. And now we could use the word audience has a little different connotation, you know, especially in the influencer world, which I agree with you. It's like kind of dumb for me to fight, which I used to. Like, I'm not an influencer.
Yeah.
But I agree. I also agree. It's like, well, I'm an influencer in the way that we all are. And we all have these platforms.
I like the word impactor.
Ooh, I'll take that. I'll try that on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the consideration for the audience out of the gate, like while you're developing the thing, while you're putting your time and energy and thoughtfulness, intentionality into whatever it is you're creating, you're always thinking of them. How are they receiving this? And then how are they going to feel when they receive this? Am I giving them opportunity to have their own experience, or am I telling them how they should feel? And that's what, in the theater, that storytelling, that's what we do. Like, we're putting it all out there. We're shaping it in such a way. But from where I come from, we're wanting people to leave with more questions and to have like their own rich, unique experience that only they could have that night with that group of people who were there. So, I do that a lot with yoga.
Yeah.
Virtually and definitely in person, like at events.
As I was thinking about this conversation with you, thinking a lot about like the sake of a podcast, taping a podcast, or versus doing a live in person, you know, fireside chat. And it's in some ways almost more difficult to do a podcast because it's just you and the other person and you're really locked in. Whereas when you're in front of a live audience, you're kind of able, at least I am able to pull off of the energy of the room. And, you know, if something provokes a chuckle, you can play off of that even more. And so there's this dynamic that's so different. I'm sure as you're recording, it's just you and, you know, Benji, your dog, and, you know, whoever's on the other end versus at Fair Market. says, the lights turn on or something, you can kind of play off of that. There's almost like I don't want to call it a security blanket, but I'm sure it's so different. Do you prefer one over the other, or do you approach them differently?
100% approach them differently. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I would say 100% in the same, that I'm trying to just be as present, of course, as
Mm-hmm.
I can be, and truly show up in service of others, like with
Mm-hmm.
the videos and live, but also 100% different in that,
Yeah.
they just have different. I mean, I for years have always said, like, hey guys, these two things don't have to compete with each other.
Mm-hmm.
At home yoga and the studio experience, or maybe you're practicing at your local gym or some sort of community group or out in the park, hallelujah, amazing. But, and I also try not to get too hung up on like over defining
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I try to practice, especially in my work. But I really have always said, like, it's not the same. They don't need to compete.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty sweet to develop both experiences. Like, should you want to, or should they benefit you? And like for the videos, there's this, I would say, a focus on function
Mm-hmm.
and like really just kind of getting out of the way and getting people into their bodies now that I absolutely prioritize. Whereas in the early days,
Yeah.
this is all still very new to me. And I was still performing and teaching live classes like 6 days a week all over
Here in Austin at
Austin.
practice, or in everywhere?
This would be before practice.
Okay.
So everywhere,
Yeah.
literally everywhere, driving in my clunker junker car with my jam box and my burnt CD, anywhere, anyone who would have me,
Yeah.
piecing it together. And I would say there's like this type of curation that I love to do in a live class that I really just, like I said, I let my freak flag fly, but I also
Yeah.
like I sound design all of my live classes.
Wow.
LOL, isn't that funny?
Yes.
Like, it's not just a random playlist. Or I'm always so blessed to work with my longtime friend and collaborator and Find What Feels Good teammate, Jeff Mills,
Uh-huh.
runs the sound for all of our live events. I mean, he's our live events director, but
Yeah.
we wear many hats in our
of
little
course.
holistic FWF2 family.
Yeah.
So he's also running the board. And the reason is he can dance with me
Mm-hmm.
in those moments. And we have these kind of like, and like any good host, we've planned some moments or some
Yeah.
opportunities for the people who show up to have stillness, to have to get their heart rate up, to laugh, to cry, to push the envelope a little. And so that's in the music,
Mhm.
and kind of move the energy of the live class through music. However,
Uh-huh.
and I hope people don't pause here
Yeah.
because I want them to hear the next piece. In my practice
Mhm.
and in the videos, I really like for there to be no music on purpose.
Mhm.
To really, and it's tricky because sometimes if I stop talking for too long, that's worrisome too, because the person, like, just the practicality of like, did the video stop? What are we supposed to be
Yeah.
doing? So that's a ballet in and of itself. And
Yeah.
here's another example.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm doing the videos, I hide my microphone like you would on a movie set
Yeah.
or television set or
Yeah.
commercial. Like, I'm not trying to show that or show up as Madonna.
Uh-huh.
In this scenario. I will in other scenarios if someone invites me to. But, and then in the live event, I have to wear the mic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even that we've tried to get the most subtle thing. So it just feels like a normal yoga
Yeah.
class, but a normal
Yeah.
gathering, and not like this big Madonna
See,
concert.
intention. That's
Lots of intention.
that's
We
exactly
actually
you.
work so hard. I happen to work with the most incredible human beings on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
For the live events, it's this whole other production where
Uh-huh.
essentially the goal is to be in service of others, make everyone feel safe, of course,
Mhm.
to create opportunity for them to feel safe. But then how do we make a 5,000, no, sorry, not 5,000,
Yeah.
let's do that, 2,000 or
Yeah.
500. 5,000 would be crazy.
Well, have you done something at that scale?
2,500, I think, is our largest.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think 2,500. I mean, that's a lot of
It's
yoga
a
mats.
lot.
But how do we make thousands of yoga mats or hundreds of yoga mats?
Yeah.
How do we make it to where the people that show up feel, how do we make it feel like a 20-person yoga class
Yeah.
or even a 10-person yoga? Like, that's been our fun when it comes to live events. That's been our fun little practice. And because we have people with background in theater and film, it's like there are a lot of things that happen and that continuously happen throughout the event that nobody sees, but it's to help it feel as though like, because no one wants to come. You're like coming to a yoga, that pissed off feeling you mentioned about getting out of your pajamas. Like imagine doing that and then having to go stand in line for 2 hours.
No.
This is not a concert.
No.
Like this is a yoga class. So we really try to like think about how are people going to feel?
And I think that that's why I even signed up to go to that class, because I admittedly do not do yoga, but I appreciate it when I do it. It's just not a part of my practice. But when I show up and allow myself to slow down and tap into my body and just be there now, I always appreciate it. And I think I must have needed it at the time, but also had heard such incredible things about you and had seen your YouTube videos, and you have such a calming presence and a very welcoming presence that I was like, I'm in. I want to be a part of this. So
Thank you.
That was you creating that.
I've tried to like allow myself to grow with the YouTube channel. And I think what I was going to say earlier about the early days is I was still performing a little bit in the videos in the early days. In fact, sometimes people like say like, you've changed. And I'm like, I hope in 14 years I've changed. But I understand what they're saying is like, I was a little more on and performative and funny. And I don't love it when people call me quirky, but I got a lot of quirky, you're so quirky in the early days. And I've pulled back on that. I saved that for the in-person events. We're being funny, or we're being, like you said, we're reacting to moments as they show up in the room together. But I've tried to kind of get more out of the way in recent years, and currently with videos, just like treat the audience like they're smart. Like they can do this.
Absolutely. Okay, before we get into the newest venture, I want to go back to the very beginning, because it wasn't until like 2012, right, that you officially launched Yoga with Adriene. At the time, YouTube had been 4 years old, I think, 2008 maybe. And so you're a native Austinite, you're a part of theater, your family's a part of, theater. Acting is something you do. I don't know if you're still doing it, but when did yoga come into your life, and what made you say, I'm going to put this on YouTube? Because I feel like that's 2012's early adopter in my book, for yoga especially.
It's wild to think about that, because when I was last at VidCon, there was no TikTok or any of that. Like, so I was feeling, I don't want to say I was feeling old, but I was feeling old.
Yeah, I get it.
I was like, and it made me think, oh, this is funny. I've never really, a lot of people are going to roll their eyes at this, and I apologize in advance, but I've never really considered myself a YouTuber. Of course I am.
Yeah.
Like I've been on, we've been on YouTube for a long time now, but the truth is, it's still wild for me to think about and hear what you're saying, which is true. Like we were there early on, and I have to give all the credit to my still current business partner, Chris Sharp. It was all his idea. He literally is the YouTube guy. Like he's so humble, but he's the guy, and he's the one who was looking at, I mean, we both had day jobs, of course, for many years in the beginning.
While you were acting, was that your day job?
I was a teacher. Yeah. I mean, I was a full-time actor. So I would be working on a play while I was in a play, like back to back.
Yeah.
Very dramatically kind of like retired after winning Best Actress in the Best of the Chronicle, tying with one of my favorite icon actresses, Barbara Chisholm. So I was like, okay, that's my sign. I'm done. So done.
I love it. What a nod.
And I do miss the theater, and I do still act, but mostly voiceover these days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Would I have heard you in anything recently?
Well, I am a few major characters on the DC Universe game. So
Get
the game.
out.
And now that the Supergirl movie has just released, which I have not seen yet, but I want to, I have been getting called in to do all of this Supergirl, because of course they're writing Supergirl back into the game in these incredible, empowering ways that are so awesome. And I'm just like, so it's been really fun for me to go back in this
voiceover acting. Like they have a huge community of fans. I mean, I'm sure there are conferences and like festivals for just voiceover actors, but I worked with one at South by, and I mean, she was like very famous in that community, and then just did like logistics and production at South by. Nobody You wouldn't know. It was a wild world. Anyway.
No, yeah. I'm trying to think. I've been with the game for like 15 years. It's insane. Like, so they just did a big
Really?
Supergirl thing and brought me in for an interview. And I realized, oh my gosh, I have been doing this game for so long. I also voice Lois Lane on the game, which is
Get
like
out.
obviously my favorite thing. And then I also play Power Girl, which is just like another version of Supergirl, but with a more mature voice. And then,
this.
yeah, just some other characters.
That's wild. I had no idea. So cool.
So I was acting at the time. That was my day job, but I also was a teacher. So
okay.
I taught for many years in after school programs, creative drama. I did so much work at the Dougherty Art School throughout my 20s, and then was working at the Griffin School.
Okay.
After the incredible Lee Eddy, who was running the theater department there, moved to New York. I had been her substitute for so long that I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to teach there for a while. But meanwhile, I'm like, I am young. I am no business in any of these places. Where I'm really thriving is learning about myself through teaching yoga at the YMCA.
I love a YMCA.
I mean,
FYI.
Yes, same. Like, truly, what am I doing? I should be doing things for the YMCA, like to just make sure they're okay, because it's, I agree, incredible. But, you know, I already mentioned taking the jam box everywhere around time. I mean, I really was devoted. And because Facebook was so big at the time, I was like putting out calls all the time for people to come practice. And I also was using my creativity to like pop up in places that you wouldn't normally do yoga. Now you would, because it's more mainstream.
Like where?
Like in the gallery at the Blanton. Like right by the Warhol though. Like they would never allow that now.
No.
Like I did that for 8 years, every Thursday free. So it was in my ethos. I taught weekly. The artistic director of Salvage Vanguard Theater, Jenny Larson, at the time was kind enough to give me the lobby of this like old warehouse theater to teach in, which is how a lot of people, boots on the ground, would remember me, like teaching there. And do you remember when that store on, what was it, on Manor called Ingredients opened? It was like the first.
Oh my gosh. Like a no plastic, bring your own container. They had glass containers for, yeah.
Out in the yard at Ingredients. It was like that. So like obviously people do these things, but I thought I was like,
smart though.
Constantly putting this out on Facebook and
tapping into a very unique community at that too. So for, you know, listeners who aren't from Austin, these are very niche artistic places.
Yes.
Like it's a very, you know,
very community focused.
Very community focused. Exactly.
But you're right. But also like a little creative. Like we're marching to the beat of our own drum.
Yeah.
On that note, I also remember teaching though at a really small gym, woman-owned, called Fitness Unleashed. And I just remember thinking, I can't believe this woman trusted me with the keys to her little gym.
Yeah.
To just go in there and teach these folks, whoever was coming in, yoga. And so Chris, who I mentioned, who's really the genius behind Yoga with Adriene on YouTube, getting out there. He was seeing, so we worked together on an indie film that never got completed, but it was called The Spider Babies. And I had a very short, dark pixie haircut with the like curl here and
I can see this.
Very rock and roll. My character's name was Polly. Some salacious outfits too. So I'm always like, oh my gosh, if that gets out there,
you're
be welcome. Oh, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, it was very funny. It's very funny to me. But he was seeing, so we worked together on this film and he was seeing all my posts, and basically anyone who knew me knew I'm an actor and I'm like super passionate about yoga.
Yeah.
And now that seems like, well, we see that all the time, but I think I was the only person, at least in the community I was working right now, who was like going that hard on these two things.
Well, I mean, it would be, if you did this now in a saturated market, I think you would have a tough time.
So different.
The wellness industry is completely different than it was in 2012 or even before that.
100%.
Social media, brand deals. I mean, it's just so, like, I think trust is a lot different now too. And how we engage with that community is a lot different. So kudos to y'all for finding some white space, but also having like the audacity to keep going and do something different.
Now that is true. The keep going piece, I always look back and I'm like, I can't, like Chris and I are like, I can't believe we did that. Like with the consistency that we did it with, without making any money. And like, we just were, it was an experiment. So long story short, I apologize. So he ended up, one of my dear friends, Isla Johnson, was also an actor in this film. They ended up getting married and they created a show called Hilo Cooking on YouTube.
I remember that.
And
whoa,
Hila's amazing.
Throwback.
She was then, she is now.
Does she still do her videos?
They don't do those videos.
Okay.
But I'd be remiss to say, like, I got to benefit from all of what they learned doing Hilo Cooking. So Yoga with Adriene was like a fast follow to Hilo Cooking, and just got to start where they were, you know, in terms of like gear and making something out of nothing.
Yeah.
No budget, no money.
Yeah.
But yeah, we became a little family and we were just so consistent and it was just us. And we're actually featuring a series right now at the time that you and I are talking that we made back in 2014. And so I've been reminiscing about the set of this series called Empower. And it was Chris filming, me doing all the videos, and a pregnant Hilo with the light bounce out in the Texas summer heat. I'm like, what were we thinking? We'd have to take breaks. Hilo was fine, but we were like, let's get you in to cool down. But also the cameras would overheat because we didn't, you know, it was just funny.
Wild.
But early days, it was just all about consistency and bringing this thing that I love to this idea that Chris had. You know, it wasn't till a couple years later that I realized, whoa, wait a second. I'm getting priced out of yoga.
Yeah.
I don't own any fancy yoga clothes. I'm mopping. This is true. Like, I'm cleaning and mopping the studio floors in exchange for classes here in Austin. Shout out to Eastside Yoga. And so I must take what people are sharing in the comments here. I need to like trust this, because if I'm getting priced out of yoga, then I'm thinking these folks are too.
100%. 100%.
And if I'm intimidated by yoga, and I've been in teacher trainings and doing this for a while, then I'm thinking these people are too. And I originally found yoga because of theater. Like, I went to a training in upstate New York at Skidmore College. It was a big deal. It was very like formative moment of my life. To this day, I look back on that time and I feel a lot of gratitude for all the people that were mentoring me and just through their existence, like being wonderful role models for, I think, the person I am today. And I came back from that training though, and I was like, you are so weak. You have got to get stronger, because very like physical.
I was like, physical?
But mentally too. Okay. Like this training, I don't want to get into it because it just becomes this like long yarn, but I love talking about it. But it's basically two trainings. One is like a movement improvisation that helps you develop like blocking and staging with ease as a company that's unique to the text you're doing. And the other one is like a cross between American ballet and Japanese theater. And it's very physical.
Yeah.
And it centers around the voice.
Okay.
And energy and focus. And I mean,
labor intensive, like physically labor intensive. Yeah.
It's actually amazing. It's like the idea. Oh, I'm just going to share one thing.
Yeah, no, do. I've never heard of it. So
this one's called the Suzuki method. When you're in front of a live audience or when you're in lights or when you're, you know, you just had a fight with someone, you can't get your button or whatever, and you still have to show up. Like, what do you do with that energy? Like you're denying the real biology and like what's happening, like the physiological experience is like, where does it go? And so this training, among many other things, it looks at that. Like, it looks at a lot of things, but it looks at, well, where does that energy go? And it's actually very yogic. That's the thing that's so annoying and awesome.
Yeah.
Is instead of pretending like that stress isn't there, I guess, it's like, how do we use it
to your advantage
for the voice or for the breath or for the focus or the eye contact and it's another way we like to talk about it is like, say you've been doing a show for a long time, but then one day you don't have it, or somebody misses their line, or just something unexpected happens, which happens all the time in live gatherings and conversations. And the idea is that you're able to still harness whatever you need to stay within the structure and stay present.
How?
Okay, I should stop there because
I'm I'm like locked in. It's these Japanese techniques. Like, so in that moment, if something were to like, say one of these like lights falls down, what would you do? I would start laughing. I'd be like, whoa, okay.
Okay, so let's do this. Okay. I love this. So the other sister training to what this company at the time was working with, you had the Suzuki method, and then you had this other training that I mentioned was like more about improvised work, that you're not improvising on stage. You're actually the opposite. You're using these tools called the viewpoints to create a language with your character and with your mates, you the company, that you're going to rely on and that you're going to agree on. I think that's what's so beautiful about it. And so if the light were to fall,
I would die if it happened right now.
You and I, it's going to be a really popular episode if it does.
I know.
But you and I mean, I'm just going to say what I feel. You and I would have this vocabulary that we had spent weeks developing together with the group, or say it was just us. We'd come up with our gestural vocabulary, our shape vocabulary, our floor pattern, like all kinds of different viewpoint tools that when that light fell, we would stay. We have this vocabulary.
Yeah.
Given that no one was, of course, injured.
Sure.
But we would use it.
Yeah.
It's the classic use it. We would incorporate it into the story. We would
improv.
We'd gift the audience with being so present in the moment that we would continue.
Yeah.
And then the Suzuki piece would be like, we would be able to know how to still use our voices and harness that energy to keep doing what we're here to do, which is honor the audience by telling the story.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh, it's improv, it's trust. I think I'd love that because I love a team activity, number one.
And it is all about the team.
Yeah.
It's all about the group.
Yeah.
The ensemble, the company.
I'm like, how did we get there? And I love that we went on that path.
Well, we got there because I'm telling you with all my heart and soul, the truth is, whether it's confusing for the listener or not, every time I'm like,
they're smart. They got this. They got this.
The truth is, anytime I talk about how it all came to be and how I got started in yoga, it's like it comes down to me training in this company and coming home and wanting to be stronger, but also being at the ripe age of 17, 18 and wanting, like anyone, like us still today, to find our meaningful contribution to society.
100%. So 2012, you launched Yoga with Adriene on YouTube. When did you know, wow, this is a thing? Like does YouTube reach out to you to say, hey, you're a high performer here? Or are you getting comments down? Like, how do you know? What's that moment? What's that inflection point for you?
2015, when we did our first 30-day yoga journey. That's when. So there's some years in between that. I would say between 2012 and 2015, Chris and I, we loved working together. We had a real friendship. I loved spending time with him and Hyla. It was really fun to have a project to work on together, and also to have a project that, like, in the early days, of course, not now, but like if you weren't feeling good, or like you drank too much or you stayed out too late, like, hey, can we postpone this? It wasn't, it wasn't our job.
Yeah.
It was like, it was a passion project, it was an experiment. And I say that because I would have never in a million years thought it would become what it is today and what it has become, and what I've been able to learn kind of as an entrepreneur, because I would have never guessed in a million years. Just like, my dear, I feel like I'm living in the future right now here, talking with you in Waterloo. Like, I grew up here in Austin. If I could imagine I was here right now doing a podcast with you, like in Waterloo. That'd be so wild.
That just gave me the chills. I could have never imagined this scenario.
So, I'm trying to celebrate my wins more. So I just want to celebrate that. Like, wow, this is really cool. Thank you.
Of course. I mean, you're iconic, Austin. You really are.
I love Austin. And you know what I love so much is that my husband loves Austin. Like I caught him saying to someone the other day, like, I still really love Austin. And I was like, yay.
He's not from here?
He's not from here.
Okay.
Yeah. He's not from here, but he's been here long enough that he's one of us now.
Yeah, he's welcome.
Are you from Nebraska?
I'm from Nebraska.
My mom was born in Omaha.
Stop
My
it.
family is all from Wyoming.
We have a Midwest tie. I did not know this. Yeah.
Anytime I've seen that, I'm like,
Speaking of like places and, you know, I have a complicated relationship of where I grew up because it was such a small town and I felt like I was held back in a lot of ways when I moved to DC and LA, not to pivot too far here, but I have such an appreciation for where I grew up. So I, for a while was like, Nebraska. And now I'm like, oh, I love Nebraska. So many great things and great people and great memories came out of Nebraska. So I love that your husband says that about Austin.
Yes. He's from like Maryland, DC area, but has lived all over, like all over, has quite the history. So for him to say that
feels good.
I was like, yeah. And I too used to think like, is it lame that I never left? Like, and then I'm like,
no.
Now I'm like, nope. I mean, also I do want to just
travel all
recognize the privilege of getting to travel for work and the privilege of getting to travel, period. I didn't travel till later in life. So I'd never take it for granted.
Yeah, same.
But in 2015 is when we did that first 30-day yoga journey. Okay.
Was that when Find What Feels Good launched as well, or?
It came a little bit later, but we've had that subscription app longer than one would think. I mean, I would say that's one of Chris's many strengths is thinking ahead. I mean, he should have been in fashion because always like not interested in what's happening now. Like what's the next thing? And that takes a really curious, courageous type of person. So I've learned a lot from him in that regard. But yeah, made no money, really wasn't seeing a lot of comments, just a few. And they were, of course, every single one. Like I'd be like, oh my gosh, oh my God, oh my God, like 3 comments. Now I'm just like trying to keep up, hearting every comment. I still am in there. Do you get in there? I am in there.
Wow.
And I write all of those descriptions for the YouTube. I heart all of those comments. I do have backup to support me because I want as many people to feel seen and heard as possible. In terms of like setting things up and stuff like that. But yeah. I've been doing this a long time and it's not the only thing I do. So, but I'm in there. I mean, that's how I learned too.
It's great data for you.
Yeah. And it's real. Like it's not all about what's the business strategy. It's like, well, what are the people saying?
Yeah.
Like, let's just listen to the community.
How's that changed from like 2015 to 2026? Is your community asking for different things from you, or like what kind of feedback do you get now versus then?
Well, thank the Lord. Hallelujah. I don't even know where it's coming from, but there is a shift. People, you know, and maybe it's the pandemic, healing process. I don't know, but people are finally starting to stop requesting ass, abs, arms. And I want ass, abs, arms. Okay.
That was a big request from them.
Just that vibe.
Yeah.
You know?
The vibe
with yoga.
Sure. Like everything aesthetic.
And that's always been hard for me because of where I come from and the type of yoga I practice. Like you said earlier that, you know, you never really lean into the yoga thing, or I forget how you said it, but I heard like not really a yoga girly, don't really develop that practice. But I was thinking, oh my gosh, what I know of you. Yeah. What I have been honored to witness, I'm like, you're a yogi. Oh, you are. Like yoga is a science of the mind that we practice through different embodiment. And so, of course, I know you know this.
That resonates.
But the yoga is more of a way of living. Yoga is a way of meeting yourself and others every day. It's a practice for that. And So the asana
That makes me tear up a
is
little
just
bit.
like one little branch. So I'm like, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I do want to share that now that feels like there's an opening. Like I was like, it's so funny because you are such a yogi to me. Like the way you show up, the way what you've shared of your journey, the way you show up for community, the way I feel, of course I don't know because I'm not you, but the way I feel like you choose to see people every day. Like we have choices. Like it's very yogic.
Thank you for that. Listener, I am tearing up right now if you're not watching on YouTube.
You're a yogi.
Well, thank you. So I understand that. Yeah.
But I will say, I guess to connect it then to like how have things changed? It's like I've noticed LOL, but like people are understanding it's more of an inside job now.
Yes,
and it's so
is.
like we have to. I mean, the world is rough. So it's just nice to see that change of needs and wants.
Well, I was listening to one of your videos on a drive yesterday. I had a pretty like long drive and I'm like, I just want to listen in. Like I didn't do a class, but I wanted to listen in. It was like maybe 18 minutes long. And I can't remember what it was for. But it was one of your most recent ones that you had done.
That's good. Just kidding.
It was great. And, my thought was, why am I not showing up on the mat to just do this? Because my body can do it. Any body can do it. We find what feels good to us. And if it's not the, heavy flow or moving our body in a certain way, we all can do it. And I feel like for me personally, I'm always searching for ways to slow down. And I caught my breath slowing down and my heart rate slowing down just by listening to your voice. And so I left thinking this could really benefit. This could benefit me. I can see myself doing this, being a yogi. So don't be surprised if the next time I see you.
I mean, I'm not one to like I said, I gave Chris the credit. He's always thinking about like what the next thing is going to be, but I'm calling it right now. Like you're a yogi.
Yes, I believe it. Now I can't wait to do it.
But I love what you said about the breath because it seems so kind of like cheeky, obvious lip service, but it really is all about the relationship to the breath. And after, because I mentioned the pandemic, after the pandemic, I was still doing the January 30 days. I've since paused that after doing it for over 10 years. And it was a big change. It was hard because I felt like, oh my gosh, we always start the year together. So I still try to think of ways we can start the year together as a, global community.
Yeah.
But after 2020, I think it was in 2021, I called the whole 30-day yoga journey breath.
I love that.
That was like when I started to pivot where I was like, you know what? I am done trying to people please the internet. Oh, and you know what? This comes back to treating the audience with respect. Because I'm like, I'm not going to keep giving what the algorithm wants. I want to give what I think we need, which is an entire freaking series on the breath. And of course, there's movement in there because that's the beautiful thing about the asana branch of yoga is you get to anchor your breath relationship in with gross body movements. It's like a lot easier, right? Than just remembering to do it all the time. It's like a fun way to play with conscious breath. But yeah, I would say that's kind of when I started. It was the beginning of what I'm still journeying through now, which is like, well, maybe we don't need to like feed the trends and the algorithms as much anymore. Like on the one hand, it's nice because it gets it in front of people who may need it the most, but get it the least. But
wow. I hadn't even gone there, but what a dance that must be for you too, where you understand there's a trend happening and you could thoughtfully connect with your community and audience who needs it, but you don't want to try to sell and be a part of a bandwagon. And that's delicate.
And I have to be honest, like in recent years and through work with a good therapist, God bless her, I've come to realize that one of my biggest fears is being misunderstood.
I relate to that.
Like even just saying it makes me want to like, but I feel like I'm maturing a little bit because, it comes back to that intention. It's like, But here's a good example.
Mhm.
So I always make day 6 of the 30-day yoga journey, 6-pack abs, day 6. And it's always been satire. Like it's
Uh-huh.
always, but if you don't know me and you don't know, it's like, you could be like, "Ugh, I thought
Yeah.
this was yoga. I thought she was different,
Uh-huh.
real." And I've done that. I did that every day 6 for the whole, I don't know what I did during breath. We'll have to go back and look, but it's always core focused. And it's like, it's saying like, we're multifaceted human beings. Like I am too. We can want strong core and also care for our kind of spiritual or whatever, whoever you can call it, whatever you want, our deeper connection to ourself and
Yes.
something bigger.
Yes.
So I've always tried to play with that, but my fear in the past has always been being misunderstood. And lately, and especially with the new venture, I'm
Mhm.
like, it's just going to make me evolve as a person to just stick. It's not even sticking to the guns. It's just like you said, trust.
And I was just going to say, I feel like we need to also trust the community, trust the audience, that they're savvy and know that they're multifaceted too. They're not one
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Like, let's all remember that we, we contain multitudes. So you may be fearful of being misunderstood and, you want to have intentionality, but you have intentionality with everything that you do. And so I'm just reiterating your point. Like we are not one thing. And I think we wouldn't be doing our audience justice by not assuming that they're smart, savvy, equipped humans as well.
Mm-hmm. And we know this, so it's almost like painful to just say it, but I'll say it. It's like the internet is beautiful and amazing.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it firsthand, but it's also so tough. It likes to box us all, period,
It
full
does.
stop. So it can
Yeah.
be challenging, but maybe I need to learn to trust the internet. What would happen?
One of my favorite words is maybe. So maybe you do.
Oh, I love that. We have a saying in the yoga therapy program that I'm in. Well, I'm going to call it a saying, but it's like the most common answer for any question, like on any end of the scale, is it depends.
Mm-hmm. And it sure does.
And it's like a real answer. It's like, it really depends.
Yeah.
So
this is the perfect segue into your latest venture, which I was so thrilled to see this show up online. And that's Veta, the clothing line that you just launched. And what I will say is, I have watched you for so long and have, seen, I saw you engage with Adidas for a little bit.
Mhm.
And I know I was at Lululemon and they were
Mhm.
like, how can we work with her? And, it was competing and so
That's
many,
right.
so many brands have wanted to have you represent them. They love what you stand for. They also know they would get great airtime with your 13 million subscribers.
Mhm.
And I love that you have never used your airtime for labels, for selling, for brands, and you have had so much intentionality and integrity behind that. And so to me, it made all the sense in the world that you would launch your own line and own collection. But I also know, in this age of like consumerism, I'm sure for you, you're very yes and about how you feel about it. And so take me to like when you decided this is what I want to do, and what were those like tenets to creating Veta that you knew had to be in place before you launched it out into the world?
Yes. Well, thank you for the opportunity to talk about this, because guess what? This is my first time talking about it. We just launched a month ago.
It's beautiful.
And it was like, it's been a soft launch. One of the things I really want to name, like almost for myself as I answer this, is like, I want to be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say right away that I did not want, it was never my dream to have a clothing line,
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of the reasons that you just alluded to. There's enough commodified wellness hip happening, and we're all a part of it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a part of it. Like, where it's
absolutely.
it's the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
like maybe not everyone, maybe you have a different setup, but the world I'm living in is like, it's definitely a part of it.
I'm in it.
We're in it.
Yep.
And I love the way you move through it, by the way. Like I was saying, there's no gatekeeping. It's honesty. It's like no hard rules. Like things aren't as black and white. Like, you show up
Thank
really
you.
well in that way. But
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth saying because it's not that other ways that people are doing things are bad. It's really just about awareness. Like, and so I hope I don't sound, I have a lot to learn and a lot of room to grow, but I just try to be aware. And so, yes, so I've never wanted to use my airtime to sell stuff. I have, in the spirit of being transparent too, like I have turned down, I don't even want to know how much money.
I cannot imagine.
For brand deals.
Having been on that other side, knowing what is offered,
I literally just did a gulp. Like,
I can't even, Adrienne, I cannot imagine.
But I want to.
Millions, by the way, listeners, millions.
And I can't help but want to shout out to my beautiful friend and partnerships director, Michelle, who
best email etiquette ever, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
She's lovely. Mm-hmm.
They're so great.
Yeah.
And you want to know what's funny? I'm not trying to throw her under the bus with this because she is exceptional. Mm-hmm. But if she were here, she would look at me and she'd go, Adriene Mishler's email writing school at your best. Like they tease me that like when you have to go through my writing etiquette, which I'm not trying to tell people how to write. I'm just saying, what if, and we're doing this right now with Veta. It's like, what if we are conscious about saying people's names, like, just
intention,
just be clear. But also I need to give her double credit. I didn't even get the words out about the first thing, but she's also taught me though, in terms of email etiquette, and say clear as kind, say what you mean. Mm-hmm. You don't need to give a billion excuses or write your whole life story. Don't just say, hey, I can no longer make that time. Yep. I really wish I could. Can we reschedule? And I'm like, well, now I know. Now I'm, But when she first started telling me that, it was all about being impeccable with your word. I was like, we can just do that. You're right. Wow. Absolutely. I don't need to say like the whole, like,
you don't need the rigmarole.
No, thank you is a full sentence too. Like she taught me that. But I want to give her some credit because both Chris and I have like used the exploration of Yoga with Adriene and now into Find What Feels Good to sort out our values. Mm-hmm. And Michelle and others on the team for sure, but because Michelle's in the partnerships role, like she's really been such a incredible friend and moral compass of like, I'll just like holding up a mirror, which is like what every good friend does. And so to be able to work with someone like that, not that I'm like being tempted by this devil money, but it's like she doesn't even send me the things that don't hit our values. Like we've created that vocabulary, which is something I don't want to take for granted.
Absolutely.
So no brand deal. Well, and also I reserve the right to do a brand deal whenever I want, whenever it makes sense. Like I'd also like to say my time with Adidas was amazing.
Oh yeah, you did truly some epic things with them.
And I truly want to bow to them and the people that I worked with in the brand, both here in the US and global. Like they let me be me. And they really worked with me. Mm-hmm. And it, the pandemic changed a lot of things. But at the end of the day, it would be, not that anyone's listening or cared, but it would be my worst nightmare to like have me doing Veta be some sort of response to them or working with them. Because I loved my time with them and I learned so much.
Yeah.
But I also learned at a certain point that I didn't want to have to be beholden to posts or things like that as a part of the deal, like especially with everything that's going on in the world.
100%.
Like I needed to be able to control the tone. Mm-hmm. That's how you care for people. Mm-hmm. You don't go posting about whatever when there's been a murder down the road. Like it's 100%. Just basic. And so I wanted to get myself out of that bottleneck first. Yeah. And also focus on what I really love about what I get to do, which is share yoga and give it away for free. And then if people want to come and be more in community, they can come with us on the Find What Feels Good community app.
Well, and that was you like finding what felt good during that time of deciding this is no longer serving me in the way that I want it to,
Yes.
taking that time and space.
And the mantra itself is truly about the finding. Like, I think we all know this at a deep level, but it is in no way insinuating that we're supposed to feel good all the time.
Right.
That is
right.
just not it.
Right.
And I mean, going back to Suzuki method, it's like,
Yeah.
how do you use
Yeah.
the stuff? You know, because sometimes it's the hardest moment that brings you back to yourself, right?
Mhm.
So that's a good thing. It's like I try to remember that on
Absolutely.
my shitty ass days. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is part of it. This is part of the ebb and flow. But with Veta,
Which stands for
it is a Spanish word that means vein
vein.
or like grain, but in nature. So
I was going to say like a not your like vein on your arm, right?
Mhm.
And not vain as in like you're so vain.
yeah, but now I'm going to be singing that all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like in wood,
Yes.
the lines you see like in a leaf, the lines you see in a stump of wood, or, you know, any type of lines in nature. And I remember the day where I met with my Spanish teacher. Shout out to Luz Maria. She's local. She's
Mhm.
incredible. And I was like, quick question.
Yeah.
Like before we trademarked this, because there were other names before.
Naming
Veta.
is hard.
Couldn't get the trademark. And I was just like, okay, this is not supposed to be this. So
Mhm.
when Veta came, I was like, oh shoot, I really hope we get this trademark, because it, you know, when you just feel it,
Mhm.
you're like,
Oh, yeah.
this is it.
Yes.
And she told me in Spanish, like, lines in nature. So I was like, boom, great.
Mhm.
And then that same year I went on was blessed to go on a little sailing trip with some of my friends who are originally from Venezuela, but live in Mexico City, which we were talking
Shout
about before we
out.
started.
Everybody
Erin,
needs to go.
Yes. And but they're all native Spanish speakers. So I got to
Uh-huh.
ask them in this kind of luxurious setting, you know, just a slow setting, like, tell me, what does it mean to you? And it was like, great. My friend Carlos was like, but it also can mean like, no, like you're Veta, like you're calling, or like what you're meant to do. And I was like,
Mhm.
interesting. Nobody really knows this yet, but I really did it because of the person that I'm doing it with, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And that person is my brother-in-law.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
you know, we joke in the family, this was all my husband's idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't quite asked my brother-in-law, like, how much of your story can I tell? But I
Yeah.
think I can share that he's incredibly smart, savvy, good human. I mean, I married his brother. Like, this
Mhm.
guy is solid human being, cares for himself really well, like
Mhm.
has a strong routine, and it's impressive. Like,
Yeah.
I think I would say most of his friends in the community, like, they look to him like, what should I do? What should I do at the gym? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
So like physical routine and
yeah,
health just in general.
but was working in consulting for many years.
Mhm.
Really smart, savvy. And so he was looking for a life change. I feel like he wouldn't mind me sharing.
Yeah.
I tell you what, he wouldn't mind me sharing anything if I'm talking about Veta.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my husband knew that he was wanting to make a shift.
Uh-huh.
And my husband and I and Chris, my business partner, we've always talked about, you know, if we were to ever, you know, dabble in clothing, we would have to just do it ourselves, because so
Mhm.
many people have offered to slap my name on their blinks. But
Yeah.
I just cannot reiterate that is not what enough. Like, that is not what this is.
Yeah.
And I need to get on it. I don't quite have the team yet. We don't have the capacity yet, but there's so much great storytelling I can't wait to share with
Mhm.
you and my other friends and the community at large, because I mean, we've been doing it. I've been hands-on. Like, my thumb is sore right now from threading draw cords
I was just gonna
on all the joggers
Get
and the
out.
sweatpants. Yes, because of course, like when you're doing
Uh-huh.
things yourself, like there's a scenario that happened where the first 3,000 weren't going to get corded with the right cord.
Oh gosh.
We could settle
Yeah.
but
But
we're
you
not
wouldn't.
settling.
No, that's not you.
That's not happening.
No.
So, yeah, I actually had
3,000 hand corded.
a little gathering at the office not too long ago where I put out an email asking if any buds.
You include me on that email. I will.
You know, that's the funny thing is I
I will-
only included people that like I had been in the trenches with it in some capacity before,
Yeah.
or I knew like,
Yeah.
because it's so hard. And so many of them said, I can hear my buddy Jeff saying, well, I knew if you were writing, asking for help, because I
Yeah.
don't ask for help.
Yeah.
I will do all those chords, you know,
Yep.
but I'm trying to learn and evolve. And I would say Veta and working with my brother-in-law, Brant, and our small team, it's been so awesome to create something from scratch and also be aware of patterns I have, even as an entrepreneur, that are good in the long run. Like it gets done, but at what cost? So
Illuminating.
the long and short of it is, we could have a whole conversation, of course, about Veta, but is at the end of the day, I felt like I was a walking billboard for whatever I was wearing anyway. And so I'm like, okay, well then I can just stop putting myself on the internet. But that's what I do, is I share practices for mental, physical, and emotional health online. Like that's the majority of what I do. So whatever I'm wearing, baby, like it's getting picked up. And that's not to assume that everyone's like looking,
Yeah.
but like, as we said earlier, we're all a part of it. Like
We
I'm
are.
absolutely looking all the time.
And people want to know.
I'm like, how are these jeans, that just launched? Like,
Yeah.
we're all so, and then just feeling, of course, this is obvious, but feeling like I want to make sure whatever I was selling, I could be responsible for. And then lastly, and this is the transparency too, is like, if I'm making someone money on this, I'd love to be a part of the entity that's making the money, so that then we can then ensure that whatever we're making can also provide a positive impact, which I want to talk to you about, like, and would love your insight on at some point.
Absolutely.
But so that's the long and short of it. There's so much depth to the why. And also I have so many mixed feelings about it still, because it's new and I don't want to be misunderstood.
Yeah.
And I don't want to disappoint people. But at the end of the day, like my therapist reminded me just this past week, like it's a yes. Remember, it's always been a yes. Like when we went through this, like the why is really strong.
And trust your community too, And I think
that's a theme of this conversation.
It really is. And I think that people that know you, even if they're just turning your YouTube on for 1 minute, maybe they need a little bit longer, but I think they feel the intentionality behind what you do. And I think if they follow you on Instagram and they follow you on YouTube and they know what you believe in, because you're not afraid to if something is happening in the community or the world, you're not afraid to respond to it in the way that makes sense for you, whether that's having a yoga class titled like yoga for, I'm making this title up, I don't know that it exists, but yoga for overwhelm, or yoga for...
That exists.
What's that?
I was like, that exists.
Okay. Yoga for overwhelm, when like things are going on in the...
Yoga for disaster.
There you go. And so they know that you're intentional. So I feel that they are also looking to you because you have incredible like ethos and character that they trust you to say like, this is my new venture. I've put intention behind the quality, where it's made, how it's made, the price point, you offer accessible yoga and a very quality product. Like, I think they get it. I hope they get it anyway, that they understand and they're looking to you because they trust you. So I would remember that as well. Like, I don't think you're going to be misunderstood. And I think if the community does misunderstand, I don't know that you're always responsible for addressing every single thing, and trust your own integrity. Sometimes things don't require a response. They just require some time and breath and building of trust in between there too.
I definitely need to hear this. And I really appreciate it. And as someone, I've seen the way you show up as well. I want to be courageous enough to try to reach as many people as possible and to create belonging for as many people as possible. So I want to keep doing that. But I do need to take a breath, truly myself, a lot of times, and remember that there, I'm never going to please
Mm-mm.
over 13 million people with one thing. And it's just not possible. Like people, you know, I kind of want to write a like sticky note and be like, trust the internet. But the
Mm-hmm.
internet's tricky because they're not always seeing everything. They're not always reading everything. So it's a lot of quick judgments. We're all privy to that type of, experience. We're all guilty, I think, of
Mm-hmm.
doing that too. It's hard. That discernment's getting harder and harder, which is why yoga is so good,
Yeah.
actually, because you get back into that listening to yourself and that self discernment. But that's never going to be the case. And especially with Veta, you know what I realized? Like, okay, we launched with the bralette. Half my friends can't wear that bralette. That's not
Mm-hmm.
right for their body.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was hit with it right away. Like, okay, this is going to be there's a
Mm-hmm.
learning curve here because I'm the girl that's like yoga for all, everyone's welcome.
Yeah.
But it's like, not everyone's going to wear this bra. So I'm
Yeah.
already working on the next one, right? For more body types. But yeah, trusting is a big theme right now. And also just the business side. Like it's a different business, like
Yeah.
e-com marketing I'm learning is so much different than the
Oh my
type
gosh.
of like soft community
Very
stuff
much so.
that I'm really good at, that I like to be
Yeah.
in, and I want to stay in that
Yeah.
actually. So I do have confidence that we'll build the right team for Veta, but it is
Yeah.
so new. And I am also just really excited that only now, like at the time of this conversation, are people getting to feel the product for the first time.
It is incredible.
I'm telling you,
Oh,
that I feel good about. And of course, we're going to develop more naturals and all that. But these things take time and money, which I did not
yes.
take outside capital
Mm.
to begin with
Okay.
on purpose. I shall be seeking it to
Yeah.
be able to
Good for
make more
you.
magic
Absolutely.
happen. But just out of the gate, we my brother-in-law really leaned in with our tiny team.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and just to get it a leg to stand on,
Sure.
as our designer.
It's like
likes
your
to
beta
say.
testing time too.
Mhm.
This is your information gathering. You're seeing what people are responding to, what that real-time feedback is. So they're sort of like your incubator of ideas for you too.
I have to remember to celebrate the wins too with Veta, because I woke up today and I was just like immediately like, all right, what's on the agenda? It feels like we're moving a mountain, and I forget to celebrate the good moments and all the things that were my non-negotiables for all those other companies over the years that, a couple of them I entertained, like, okay, this could be good, maybe get
Mhm.
some passive income and also kind of fun because I'm already wearing the clothes, same sort of stuff. But I mean, it was amazing how like, yeah, well, okay, we can do that. No plastic anything. And then
Yeah.
like everything shows up in plastic and you're like, guys, that was like a number one non-negotiable.
Uh-huh.
That Michelle told y'all that one. Like there's
Yeah.
no plastic allowed,
Yeah.
in the packaging, the shipping. And so I am really proud of all the kind of baseline, beta
Mhm.
work that we've done and where we are now. And maybe it's just like what I'm feeling, mixed feelings wise, is just a bit of the good old fashioned unknown. Like what's going to happen?
100%. I think anybody who has built anything understands. And if you get any kind of feedback that feels like, ooh, like that didn't feel great, I'd be so curious to know, like, what have you launched? I would just kind of remember that too. I think there's some empathy and understanding around trying to build something and get something off the ground. So just a reminder to you.
That's some good friendship right there. My request too would be for anyone who is looking at it and having mixed feelings like me. We're all friends here.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how I approach my work. I know
Yeah.
that not everyone gets to approach their work that way, and that's how my work's all about befriending yourself so that you can befriend others. And so
Yeah.
I'm just hoping like, my friends out there online will have my back, because I definitely wake up feeling like, I want to have their back every day.
Well, I'm going to give you your flowers because I was the lucky recipient of some product. And oh my gosh, I was telling you on your way in, it's of course high quality and it's soft and the material feels so good. But it's like when I'm in it, I feel like I'm supposed to be in this. Like supportive. It's comfy. It's cozy. It's like kind of cooling to the skin. It's stylish. So let's like not forget that part of it. I don't feel like I need
Yes.
to do yoga in it, but I feel like I can move about my day in it. And I know that's so like ethereal when I'm saying this, but it's so luxe. It's so nice.
I really appreciate that. And I heard, when we were walking in and you said that, I felt like I got snapped out of like whatever vacuum I've been in. And I actually like my mom, this is very a Melba thing. Like my mom's
Is that your
wisdom.
mom's name?
That's my mom.
Love that
Melba
name.
Martinez. Dr. Melba Martinez. And
Melba.
don't you forget it.
What a power name.
Yeah.
Melba
My mom doesn't have a
Martinez.
middle name either. So it's just
You wouldn't
like,
need to with Melba
no,
Martinez.
Dr. Melba Martinez. Melba
Doctor,
Martinez.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. But my mom has been good about reminding me about the worthiness of like there being a sacredness to Veda. And I know this in my depth of who I am, like she's right, but I've gotten a bit distracted with the getting her up off the ground. Yeah, just, not, it's slow going.
Yeah.
Like it's not like other things that I've done because it's different. It is very different. So when you said that, I was like, I didn't have this fully formed thought, but it was just a feeling of like being snapped out of the whole, what my awesome therapist would call like human identifying things, and it snapped me back into that like soul identifying thing of like, of course Veta has an energy. Like I have met the people who make the clothes. They are incredible. Like they are such beautiful humans with beautiful energy.
Of course.
It's coming through.
I can't wait to hear their stories.
I know.
I mean, there's so much potential and so much opportunity. And I know it's brand new and you're just talking about it, which, by the way, you do not do a lot of podcasts. I was doing my research and I, LOL, saw one with Rob Lowe, which I love that y'all were talking about eye masks.
It's you and Rob Lowe. Yeah. That was so funny. Yeah. And we did talk about eye masks.
Yeah.
It was so, you just got to be present to wherever the conversation goes.
I loved it.
But I don't do a lot of podcasts. I'd like to do more now.
Okay.
I think I got overwhelmed. After the pandemic, Michelle and I did every outlet, you name it, we were there, because what a gift to have something to do during that time.
Yeah.
When most of my friends were not able to work or working with such a great challenge, we were like, all right, baby, this is our moment. We've got this library, everyone on the team, but then especially in terms of collaborations and partnerships and conversations, Michelle and I just went hard.
Yeah. And sometimes you need to.
And I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
And I'm not complaining.
Seasons, right?
It was a life raft for me too. It felt very life-giving to try to help in just any small way, show up for people. But yeah, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to chat with you. And I think I love a podcast conversation.
They're fun.
You know what? The difference is we're in person.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I
It
know.
feels so nice.
I know. This is such a gift. Like getting one-on-one time in this tiny space and just getting to like, I always bring these like questions, and 9.9 times out of 10, I never look at them because I like the way things flow naturally. I don't like a structure of like, okay, and tell me about, some whatever.
But you had so many years, like this is such a beautiful fit for you. Like it's amazing.
Thank you.
And it makes so much sense and it's exciting. And I can't wait to see how it blossoms.
Thank you.
Because you've had so many, from what I know, you've had so many different seasons of life where you're doing this.
Yeah.
Whether it's in a room or on a stage or at the festival. Like, so it's really cool that you get to kind of just like be the boss and own this.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy I get to be.
That means so much coming from you. It's the best environment for my curiosity to thrive. It's like the place where I can just really lock in and I have so many questions. I have 100 questions. I'll leave and I'll go home and I'll be like, I wish I would ask her about this, but this is the moment. So it's how it flows. It's how it flows. I always say like, that's showbiz, baby. Like that's what it is.
Beautiful job. I mean, it also feels, just for the audience, like I'm looking out at the shelves of vinyl, which I'm going to shop briefly after this conversation. And I'm like sometimes when I think of podcasts, it feels inauthentic to me,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when I've talked about doing a podcast, part of me is like, oh my gosh, I can feel, or I can hear and feel the eye roll of, but being here with you, it feels so authentic and right. And like, it's
Thank
awesome
you.
to be at Waterloo because what makes Austin great, it's still here, baby.
Oh,
Like,
it's still here.
and
Well, you were born here.
but like, I think we both enjoy straddling a little bit of what makes Austin great. Is like, part of it is like messy middle, and part of it's like, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the middle is like summer classic movie series at the Paramount. But you know, it's like, it goes back to that, like not putting ourselves or one another in a box and really celebrating getting, you know, to live a multifaceted life.
Yeah.
I think Austin's a good place.
And it makes life more fun to do that. I want to ask you one last question, and then we can wrap up. But, you know, I'm curious. Yoga with Adriene is on YouTube, over 13 million subscribers. Veta's out in the world. Find what feels good. These, you know, 30-day invites to bring a community in, because they're online, like those will live on beyond you. Like, what do you hope? What would you, I know it's such a cheesy question that people ask, and maybe you know what I'm about to say, but what do you want your legacy to be? What do you hope everything is that you've created does after you're gone?
I'd hope that my legacy would be around, I keep coming back to friendship.
Mm-hmm.
When you think, you know, we've all heard it before, like, would you say that? Would you give that advice to your friend? Like the advice whatever you're doing, would you, is that how you talk to your best friend? The same way you're talking to yourself right now?
Mm-hmm.
And there's something there. And, you know, I mentioned it earlier too, like there's something about, I'm not your expert. I'm not your guru. Some days I'm just not even that great, you know, and other days, yeah, I'm amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just about being a good friend. And I'd love for anything that I touch and the work that I do to have that energy of just being a good friend. And a good friend is just honest. Like they are not, like we said, they're not the guru, they're not the expert, they're not perfect. And they're going to be miscommunication, but it's like this returning to this idea of friendship feels really sweet to me and interesting because it also focuses not just on the product or the end result. It's like, what did it feel like to create the thing together? Like when you had your journal and you were working with the divine and what's the offering going to be, or when you're in the room with your mates laughing, we laugh a lot. Yeah. Or now with the new, that's like remembering to have fun. Otherwise, yeah, you know, you feel the process, of course, in the results. So keeping that, what it means to be a good friend energy kind of throughout it all would be my answer.
That's beautiful.
Is my answer.
That is your answer. I think that's beautiful. I sometimes forget that you have a global presence and global reach and that you're making an impact globally. And I think it's so beautiful to know you on a, you know, community level and the impact you create here and how that has impacted my life. You know, a 75-year-old in Conroe, Texas, down to a 20-year-old in London. And these are all people I know who love and adore you, to a friend I graduated with who's teaching breath work in Costa Rica, who cites you all the time. And that awareness around friendship and community building. And I think that notion allows us to just show up and be just better people to ourselves as well. And it's so not eloquent what I'm saying right now, but in my mind it makes sense.
No,
but
I'm hearing it.
I just, you have such a like a global reach. And I don't say that lightly. Like you really are impacting people that I know personally in ways that I don't even know that you know. And so that's a long way of me saying like, thank you, Adriene, because I see it in my life.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. What I heard too is that like when you're showing up as a friend, our good friends, there's humility, right?
Mm-hmm.
And honesty in how you interact, and loyalty is
Yeah.
a big thing too. So that's kind of what I got from that. And yeah, I have to be too, like, how lucky am I? Like, even right as we were getting set up here, like, I am so lucky that I get to have this connection with so many different souls all
Yeah.
around the globe.
Yeah.
And anytime I meet someone, I know it's a gift.
Yeah.
Like, it's a once in a lifetime kind of experience that I'm having. So
That's
I try to
cool.
do right by it, you know.
Yeah.
Try to bring the humility and playfulness too is important. But thank you.
Well,
And
of course.
and you inspire me. And honestly, as I'm sitting here, it's hard to talk about yourself for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm already like, yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to just kind of take a second to look at where I'm at, because I'm like, yeah, we have to get a community yoga. This is how I work. I'm like,
Yeah.
we have to get a community yoga back in here, and we have to be doing some more impact work, like just already. We don't need to wait for Veta to do this. Like, we need to just be doing more. Like, I need to get back in the room outside with Tank Proof. You know, it's like, but I think that's being around you too, and being with you in person, and just kind of like going, oh no, yeah. Anyway.
Well, thanks for saying that. We can all have a hand in doing
Let's keep
more
going.
work together too, and keep going.
Let's keep
and
going.
thanks for like seeing me and understanding that. I feel like I need a segment on here called like Kelly Can't Land a Plane, because I will just go in circles with what I'm trying to say, and you so succinctly brought that back.
No, I think you nailed it. And again, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be together and to be a guest on your show. And also, isn't it weird? Like, many, many moons ago, it would have been weird to have like someone you met on Instagram.
Yes.
And feel so close. Like, I was getting ready to come here today. I was like, it's so funny. I feel like we've spent a lot of time together.
I know.
But now it's like, no, that's actually not weird. That's the world we live in. So just meet it and greet it.
Yeah, it's special.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. I so appreciate your time. Where can people find you again?
They can find me, of course, on the YouTubes or at Find What Feels Good app, which is a beautiful community that just kind of helps take your yoga to the next level. We talk about yoga similarly to how we talked about yoga today, is like not just the movement and the breath practice, but a way of moving through your day and a way of meeting yourself. And then we also have some fun supplemental opportunities to move there, and everything from like strength training to Pilates.
Awesome.
And some sound healing bowls. Yeah.
And where can they shop Veta?
Shop Veta at withveta.com. And we have an email list there, which is like kind of, I know everyone's got plenty of email lists, but I think I'm going to start doing more storytelling there soon. So if anyone's interested in that sort of thing, would be nice for you to join us.
And you're Adriene Louise, 1N.
1N.
All E's.
Mom met with a numerologist and when she was pregnant, and was like, okay, Adriene, but 1N.
We love the doctor.
Yes.
Love her.
Adriene Louise, doctor of radio, television, film, dance, and theater. She's a theater professor.
So she's a badass.
Yeah. So that's, both my parents met in a play at the theater. But thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Adriene. Okay, we're done.
Yay.